get it, that's all.
Every service we go over through, we'll talk about, we will give you the information of this will probably work really well in any environment versus this is something you need to know for the exam, but please understand in the real world, if you're an architect, you probably can't use it for these reasons and when you could potentially use them. So I hope that actually answers your question with that. So we only answered most of the questions, and here's the reason why. We have about 10 minutes of questions that we can do each time, and most of the questions that were asked, we're actually going to cover. We just haven't covered it yet. So I love that you're here. I love that you are you're retaining this information. I love that you're asking questions because that means you're thinking. And if we didn't go over it, we will. And guess what? We'll have lots of time. So we're going to have lots of fun with this. So now we're going to talk about connecting to the cloud. And this is honestly a pretty important thing that most people don't actually understand. If you're going to put your systems on the cloud, you have to be able to reach them, right? So normally speaking, we've got a data center, which is often attached to the building. And if you've got your data center, which is a room full of servers and air conditioner powers and power and backup generators and storage area networks and load balancers and firewalls, routers and switches, etc. If that's all in your building, you don't need a connection to it because it's already there and you've got your fiber optic cables. But when you want to connect your New York data center, for example, to your employees that are in, say, Miami, because now you need a wide area network. And as organizations, network architects have been designing these wide area networks for years. No big deal. Now, if your systems are on the cloud and not in your data center, you're going to have to reach them. And realistically speaking, I want everybody to know there's two ways you can reach information. Way one is you get a wire between you and your provider. And basically every option we talk about, these are iPhone headphones, but if you get a private line, like a direct connection, which we'll talk about, it's going to be a wire. And, there's other types of wires or virtual wire connections that we can create. But the wire is basically a wire between you and the cloud provider. Option one. Option two is we can create an encrypted tunnel between your data center and the cloud and use private addressing. Super secure, just like the first option. And the other option is we use other types of secure VPNs like software-defined WAN or SASE. But here's the big thing. We can also reach things over the internet. So when you go on the internet, like when you reach a website, that's going through the internet. And why am I talking about this? Well, the internet is a dangerous place. Organizations are not going to put their mission critical systems and have them reachable by the internet because they'll be hacked within an hour. They can't do that. So for an organization to reach its private internal information, it needs a connection. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So we don't go through the internet to reach our systems in most cases. What we actually do is go through a private network to access our private system. So when you hear the term intranet, that means systems that are inside that organization's network. When you hear internet, it means the scary internet with everybody and every hacker in the entire world sitting there. So keep that in the back of your mind. So we are going to have to connect to the cloud with a private network of some kind. Otherwise, we won't be able to reach our systems on the cloud. So I hope that makes sense. So what are the ways we can actually connect to the cloud provider? The cheapest way is what's called a VPN. Here's what a VPN is. We take a public network, which is not going to be secure, and we create a private something through that public network. So if you ever hear about MPLS VPNs, it's a type of VPN. When you actually use a VLAN when connecting to the cloud provider on direct connection, which we'll talk about, that is technically a virtual private network. But typically when we talk about VPNs, we're talking about IPsec tunnels. So when we talk about this today, we'll talk about IPsec tunnels. So if you were to send information directly over the internet, you've got a couple of problems. The first thing is the internet is not secure unless you use encryption. So understand that. The next thing that you need to understand is if you're going to participate in routing over the internet, you need to have people that really understand the BGP routing protocol and some pretty big bad routers, because the internet routing table is like 900,000 routes and you're going to get it from multiple internet service providers. And internet routing is pretty darn complex. So unless you have a staff of Cisco certified internet experts, and not even most of them understand big internet routing, that puts into the pool of that many of us that actually work there. I used to design internet service providers network, so it's my background, but kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Now, if you're going to send your information over the internet, unless you put it in some form of a VPN, you're going to need to have public addresses on everything, because private addresses can't communicate through the internet. But we don't have enough IP addresses for everybody to get a public address, at least with IPv4. And even though IPv6 is out there, it's been out there for 20 years, it's very slow to be adopted. Now, if you're going to connect your information, not only do you need, on both ends of the connection, you need to be on the same subnet. Ugh. How do we do that? Generally speaking, you can't, because one internet service provider and another internet service provider are going to be on separate address space, so they can't be on the same subnet either. So what we do is we create a VPN tunnel through the internet, and after that, we send our traffic. So let's look at what it really looks like.
Let's start with our first topic, which is AWS IAM roles and users. The first thing which we are going to do, first of all, is to sign up for an AWS account. So here I'm just going to open a new tab and I'm just going to type aws.com. And as soon as you open this page, then on the right hand side, you will find an option for a complete sign up, which is present over here. So just click on it. And here you will find a sign in as well as a create new AWS account. So since you are just trying to register this account for the first time, then it will just need to sign up email. So to perform the sign in, it is gonna here I am a bit over here. Since I have been using this particular AWS console for a long time, that's why you are seeing quite a lot of options which is popping up over here in the recently visited like a box. But in your case, it might be empty. But if you are able to see this console, then you easily can say that, hey, you have successfully registered for your AWS account. And this is going to be your root account. All right, so let's get back to our slide. So here, this was our user on the left-hand side. He has performed the sign up and he is able to see the AWS console page. So the key things which you need to look over here is this is a root user. So how will you know that it is a root user? So here on the right-hand side, you will see a account ID. And here you will find this particular account ID as well as this particular options like account, organizations, billing, dashboard, security credentials. Although if you are not a root user, you will also see similar options. But since you are a root user, then you will not see here an option for a switch role. So that's the key things which you need to look for once you sign up with your root user account. And one more thing which I would like to show you is the billing dashboard. So here, since I have been using this account for a long time, that's why you can see some cost which is associated into my billing cycle because I have been using some of the resources. But here you will find all the options and you will be able to see all of these details because you are the root user for this AWS account. So this is the key thing which you need to keep in mind. And as a good practice in AWS, it is recommended that we should not use the root user account quite a lot for creating or managing our resources. We should create IAM users. I'm just going to tell more about those IAM user later, but these are some just good practices from AWS. So yeah, just let's go back to our console, and this is the sign up. After sign up, we are seeing this console, and this is our first step which I would like to show you before we go deep into the IAM roles and user. So here, this is the user. We have performed the sign up and we are able to see the AWS console as a root account. As I have already told you, like what a root user can do, a root account can manage the IAM permissions, like which user needs to access which resources. So it's pretty much like a controlling the permissions of your whole AWS account. So these are the things, or these are the powers which is
Hello, cloud
associated with
expert.
our root account. It can also control the billing. So if you are using AWS account for a company, then you might need to associate some credit card for your billing account, so that a billing
Learners and AWS fans, welcome to your favorite YouTube channel.
Hello there, this is Rahul and welcome to the AWS Solution Architect series. And this series I'm just going to target for AWS Associate as well as AWS Professional level. And if you're just a beginner, then don't worry, we are just going to start everything from the scratch so that you can build up your understanding on how to use the AWS cloud. And in this series, we are just going to cover lots of chapters. So into the description section, please find the timestamp of each chapter, because in upcoming weeks, I will be uploading quite a lot of chapters. So I'll be updating those description section and please check those timestamps. Let's start with our first topic, which is IAM users and the roles. And these are the basic building block irrespective of whatever certification you are targeting. So first thing I would always recommend you to learn is the IAM roles and the users. So what's the first thing which we are going to learn inside the IAM roles and the user? So first thing is that you need to do the sign up for your AWS account. So this is a user and you need to perform a sign up. If you have not created any AWS account before, then in that case you need to do the sign up. Okay, so once you create a sign up, then you will be able to access the AWS console. So let's take a look on how to do the sign up for our AWS account. So here is my AWS console or AWS registration page, or you can just go on browser and just type the awsamazon.com. And here on the top right corner, you will find the option for a complete sign up. So just click on it. And here, this is the sign in page. If you are an existing user, then you can just perform the sign in. But if you are a new user, then just click on create new AWS account. And here, this is the simple sign up page. And I would assume that you will be able to do the sign up. You just need to fill in some primary details like your email ID, your account name, and then you need to verify your email address. And it will send you a verification email. And after that, you will be able to sign up for your AWS account. And remember, if you are doing it for the first time, then there are some free credits which is assigned for you for a first year, so that you can use those credit for learning the AWS. And also once you consume those AWS credits, then you need to attach your credit card or debit card so that you can still learn and consume those AWS services. So just choose whatever option which is available for you. If you have already signed up, then you might have consumed some of your credit, and if you're doing it for the first time, then you will have some free credits for your first year of AWS services. But don't worry, we are just going to keep everything minimum if you have already exhausted your credit limit. So we will just keep bare minimum things so that it doesn't cost you much while learning and using these AWS tutorials and examples. All right, so now I'm assuming that you have already created an AWS account, and now you can just go to the sign in page. So this is the AWS account. And once you create a new AWS account, then you will be a root user for that AWS account. So here you can see this is the root user option I have selected, and this is the email ID through which I have already registered myself. So I'm just click on next over here, and I have already saved my password into my browser, so I don't need to enter it, and then click on sign. First of all is the region. So whatever the region where you want to work, so just select that particular region. I'm just going to explain those things later. But there are various data centers from AWS, and based on your geographical location, just choose whatever the nearest for you. If you are in a Asia region, then just select some specific Asia data center or region from AWS. Since I'm in Europe, so I'm just gonna stick with the Europe Stockholm because I'm based out of Stockholm. Second, on the right hand side, you will see quite a lot of options, which is your root account details. So if you go on, click on account, then you will find all the details of your root account, because this is the root account you have through which you have just did the sign up. And here are few other things which you need to just go and take a look. because these are nothing you need to worry about apart from the billing section, because you just need to attach your credit card later if you have consumed your credit limits. So yeah, this is this kind of a AWS console you will get once you do the sign up. Okay, great. Now you have done your first step and you have performed the sign up, and now you are having an AWS account with you. Then what is next? So the next thing which I'm going to talk about is the command line interface access for your AWS account. So AWS not only provides you the GUI, but it also provides you a command line interface so that you can access the same services from your command line using the AWS CLI. And here CLI stand for command line interface. So here the next thing which I'm just going to show to you is how you can use the AWS CLI or the AWS credential, and the credential which I'm talking about is the AWS access key ID and AWS secret access key. So these are the two credential which you need to use to access your AWS services from your command line interface. So let's go back to our AWS console and see from where we can get these credentials. Alright, so this is my AWS console homepage, and on the right hand side top corner you will find your root account details. So just click on that button, and here you will find the option for a security credential. So just click on it. And here you will find the way to access your AWS access key and the secret key details. So here in this section, you will find few of your details like account details, your account name, your email ID, but we are interested into our access key and the secret key. So here you can see, here are couple of access key which I have generated in the your root account details. So just click on that button, and here you will find the option for a security credential. So just click on it. And here you will find the way to access your AWS access key and the secret key details. So here in this section, you will find few of your details like account details, your account name, your email ID, but we are interested into our access key and the secret key. So here you can see, here are couple of access key which I have generated in the past, but in case you can generate the new access key here as well, which I'm just going to show to you. As you can see over here, the create access key button is disabled for me because I have a couple of access key which I have already created. So I'm just going to delete some of the old ones. So here you can see this is the key which is I have used like a 572 days before. So I'm just going to select that one, go to action, and I'm just going to delete that one. First of all, I need to deactivate it. And then after that, I just need to delete. So I'm just going to copy it. It will ask for confirmation, and then just click on delete. So now I have deleted that particular key, and after that I can see that option is enabled for me. But if you are doing it for the first time, then this option will be enabled for you by default. Alright, so just click on create access key over here, and it will ask that root user access keys are not recommended because this is a root user. And if you are just trying to create the access key for your root account, then just be careful. But don't worry, we are just going to cover the root user and IAM user later into this chapter. So just keep the focus on creating the access key and the secret access key. So that's the part I'm interested in to show to you. Okay, so select that option as of now and create access key. And here you can see the access key and the secret is created for you. And this is a root user access key and secret key. So ideally what AWS recommends is you just create the access key and secret key for root user once, and after that you should not create a multiple access key and secret key for your root account. But this is the first time. I'm assuming that you are just signing up for your AWS account, and this is the first time you're accessing it. That's why this is the way you should do it. Okay. All right. So this is the way you should generate the access key and secret access key. And after that, you can, I'm not just going to click on show over here because it will just show the secret access key, but you can just make a copy of it somewhere secure, somewhere in the vault, or somewhere in your password manager. So this is the way you should create your access key and the secret access key for command line access to your AWS services. Let's take a look onto the slide once again. So we have done the sign up, as well as we have seen like how we can get the AWS credential for our command line interface access. Later on, I'm just going to show to you like how you can use the AWS CLI as well to use those credentials to access your AWS services. But as of now, we have done the sign up. We are able to access our AWS console, and we are also able to access our credential from AWS. Moving to the next topic, which is IAM policy. And what is the IAM policy? So let's try to understand the IAM policy first. So let's assume there is a user, and for that user, I'm just going to create an IAM policy. So in a very simple manner, if I would try to explain the IAM policy, then this is a permission document. And what do you mean by the permission document? So let's assume that myself, Rahul, I'm trying to access or I'm trying to create an AWS account. But once I create an AWS account, then I don't have any permission to perform any actions or use any services inside my AWS account. And don't assume that I am a root user. So there is a disclaimer I would like to put it over here. I am an AWS user, but I am not a root user. So that's the first scenario you should keep in mind, because a root user have a permission to use all the services. So I'm not a root user, but I'm just a normal AWS user present inside my AWS account. Okay, so I'm a user. By default, I don't have any permission to use any of the services. So for that, we need to create a permission document, and that permission document is called as an IAM policy document. And that's where we call it as an IAM policy as well. So this is a user, and for that user, I'm just creating an IAM policy document. And that policy dictates like what kind of a services that user can use and perform. So here, this is an example which I'm showing to you, and this IAM policy permits that particular user to access the S3 bucket. And once we assign this permission or this IAM policy to that particular user, then that user will be able to access the S3 bucket. So that's the significance of our IAM policy with in the AWS. Now you understand what the IAM policy is and what's the purpose of it. Let's take a look on to one of the example policy which I just shown to you. So here you can see this is the snippet which I have taken from my IAM policy, and here you can see this is the syntax which you need to follow to create any IAM permission policies. So the first thing is the version which you need to keep as it is. The second is the statement. This statement block can be small and can be very long based on the policy which you're trying to implement. But I'm just keeping the things simple over here, and I'm just trying to create a permission policy for my S3 bucket. So here you can see this is the SID, and this is the SID where you can keep some suitable name like allow Rahul to S3. So these kind of some suitable name which you can keep it into your SID. Effect, would you like to allow or deny? So these are the two values which you can put inside your effect variable. Second is the action. So action, like what kind of action are you allowing or what kind of action are you denying for that particular policy. So here you can see I'm just trying to allow an S3 access, and what are the resources. So if you are just trying to govern this particular policy to particular resource, then you're just gonna put that resource ARN. ARN is just a unique number for any resource. So assume that you have created an S3 bucket, and that S3 bucket you want to assign to me. Then in that case, you're just gonna create this kind of a policy for that particular user. But this policy is very basic and very simple. Here we are just allowing all the S3 bucket and all the S3 permission. What do you mean by all the S3 permission? Which means user can create S3 bucket, can delete S3 bucket, can even access the content of your S3 bucket. So this star signifies that thing, and resources star means all the S3 bucket. I'm just not restricting that user to any particular S3 bucket. I'm just allowing all the S3 bucket access to that particular user. So this is a very simple IAM policy which I just wanted to explain you before moving further. Let's do some kind of a demo so that we can understand this IAM user and IAM policy in much more detail. So this is my AWS console, and here in the search box I'm just gonna search for a services which is called as IAM, and here just click on IAM over here. And as I have told you that I am a root user and I'm not supposed to use root account or root user quite a lot. So for that purpose, I'm just going to create an IAM user. So here in the IAM dashboard on the left hand side, you will find an option for creating a user. So just click on it. And what I'm just trying to showcase to you is that I'm just going to create an IAM user, and that user I'm just going to allow some permission, and that permission is going to be our S3 permission, which I have just shown to you in the previous chapter. Okay, so here what I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna create a user first. So let's go here, and username I'm just gonna put test, let's say test user demo, and then I'm just gonna put provide user access to AWS console. So let's put yes. Or maybe we can just skip as of now. We can just enable this option later also, so that user have access to AWS console as well. But let's just create a user first. So click on next over here. And here are a couple of things. So add user to a group. I'm just going to cover the AWS group later. So I'm just not going to select that one. Copy permission, attach policy directly. So what we can do, we can just click on attach policies directly over here. So here either AWS access to AWS and you showcase as I have told you that I am a root user and I am not the default policy. Create some can accept to explain you before moving further. Let's do some kind of a demo so that we can understand this IAM user and IAM policy in much more detail. So this is my AWS console, and here in the search box I'm just gonna search for a services which is called as IAM, and here just click on IAM over here. And as I have told you that I am a root user and I'm not supposed to use root account or root user quite a lot. So for that purpose, I'm just going to create an IAM user. So here in the IAM dashboard on the left hand side, you will find an option for creating a user. So just click on it. And what I'm just trying to showcase to you is that I'm just going to create an IAM user, and that user I'm just going to allow some permission, and that permission is going to be our S3 permission, which I have just shown to you in the previous chapter. Okay, so here what I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna create a user first. So let's go here, and username I'm just gonna put create a user first. So let's go, let's say test user demo, and then I'm just gonna put provide user access to AWS console. So let's put yes. Or maybe we can just skip as of now. We can just enable this option later also, so that user have access to AWS console as well. But let's just create a user first. So click on next over here. And here are a couple of things. So add user to a group. I'm just going to cover the AWS group later. So I'm just not going to select that one. Copy permission, attach policy directly. So what we can do, we can just click on attach policies directly over here. So here either what you can do, you can just go over here and you can just select some default policies. Otherwise, we can also create some of our custom policies as well. So let's take a look onto the default policy which has been provided by AWS. So here you can see there is a policy called S3, and here you can see Amazon S3 full access. So just select this one. And if I expand this one, then here you can see all the permissions for our S3. Okay, so for this particular user, which is our test user, which I have mentioned in the step 1 over here, I'm allowing the S3 full permission. Okay, then click on next over here. And here you can see this is our username, and the console type I'm not providing any AWS console access yet. We are just going to enable it later. And here the permission, I'm just allowing the full S3 permission to that particular user. Okay, then click on create user over here. And here you can see our test user demo has been created. Okay, so this is the successful message over here. So once you create that user, then just click on this particular user over here and go inside this home page of that particular test demo user. Okay. Now, once you have created this particular user, the next thing is how to access the AWS console of that particular user, since we have not enabled that option when we are creating this particular user. Okay. So here in the test demo user section, you will find the option for a security credential. And here you will find a link through which you can access your AWS console of that particular test user. Okay. And here you will find the option for enable console access. So first of all, you need to enable that console access so that you can just use this URL to access that particular console. So go over here, click on enable console and click on enable over here. And once you enable the console, then of course you will need a username and password. Okay, so here what you can do, you can just rely on auto-generated password. So this is the actual practice, because you will be allowing some new user, or you will be creating some new user for your AWS account. So in that case, you will keep an auto-generated password, and you will check that option that user must create a new password after the next sign console that particular test through inside this home page of that particular test demo user. Okay. Now, once you have created this particular user, the next thing is how to access the AWS console of that particular user, since we have not enabled that option when we are creating this particular user. Okay. So here,
प्लीज मेरी फिक्र करना छोड़ दो, प्लीज मेरी फिक्र करना छोड़ दे यार, तेरा जी लेगा जैसे भी हालातों पर दिखेगा नहीं कभी तुम्हें शोर में। प्लीज मेरी फिक्र करना छोड़ दो ना, प्लीज मेरी फिक्र करना छोड़ दे जी यार, मेरे पूछते तू ठीक है ना, मैं भी हंस के कह देता रिपोर्ट ओके की हाँ मैं ठीक हूँ, ज्यादा मुझे पड़ता नहीं फर्क, बड़ा ठीक हूँ, सुधार नहीं पाया कोई शख्स अजीब हूँ, नहीं देता ज्यादा किसी को भी वक्त, अगर दे दिया तो खुद पे लगाऊंगा क्या, बांट दिया सब तो फिर खाऊंगा क्या, ऐसा सोचा तो नीचे ही जाऊंगा ना, ये बात है पार्टीज आई डोंट लाइक इट भाई, तू गम में बुलाएगा तब आऊंगा ना, टाइम से बड़ी कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं, फिर फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि पेशा क्या है, तो उठना बेटा क्या घर नहीं चलाना है, अब तक तू बिस्तर पे लेटा क्या है, जैसे दोस्त है ना दुश्मन ये नींद भी है, इन्वेस्ट इन योरसेल्फ वक्त कीमती है, I'll be most consistent you'll ever witness, मुझे अपने से ज्यादा फिक्र सीन की है, कहीं वैक ना हो जाए, कहीं डैड ना हो जाए, किसी लड़के का मुझसे बेहतर रैप ना हो जाए, ट्रैप भी हो जाए, मुझसे ब्रैक भी हो जाए, जब पंचेस का मूड बूम बैप भी हो जाए, ड्रिल भी करा है मैंने बिल भी भरा है, जज्बात जैसे भी हो कलम डट के चलाए, ये लिखाई मेरी नहीं है मोहताज किसी शख्स की, दिखाई नहीं देता क्या नहीं हूँ मैं वक्त की, प्रूव नहीं कर सकता बार बार मैं बोल बोल के, होगा यकीन तभी होगा जब टॉप पे सुधर रहा होता हूँ, जब होता हूँ गायब तुम ये मत समझना कि आऊंगा नहीं लौट के, ट्रेजेडीज 110 मेरी लाइफ में, एनिमी आकर सब बने माइक पे, वॉनबीज इनका मुंह तोड़ दूं, ये लिखाई मेरी जिंदगी मैं कैसे छोड़ दूं, वेटिंग फॉर द बेटर मी अब इतने टाइम से, हेटिंग फॉर नो रीजन अब क्या सबको टाइम दे, जाना है सबसे आगे लेना है सबसे कम ही रेस्ट, था ही नहीं तू कल तक आकर क्यों करे सजेस्ट, ये 2 3 4 मेरे काम के नहीं है, आई एम बॉर्न टू बी नंबर 1, याद आया नंबर से कॉल कराओ 2 दिन से क्यों तेरा नंबर बंद, फिर से क्या दुनिया से जंग हो गई, फिर से क्या दुनिया से तंग हो गई, या जिसके लिए दुनिया से बात करना बंद की उसी से क्या बात होना बंद हो गई, समझ सकता हूँ मैं सिचुएशन तुम्हारी भी, होता ही आया है सालों से यही, वक्त दिया सब दिया मुंह कैसे फेर लिया, कह दूं मैं अब तक सवालों में वही, सीखा है वक्त से कि वक्त को भी वक्त दो, फिर वक्त पे तुम सब कुछ ही पा लोगे भाई, भागने की करोगे वक्त से भी आगे तो वक्त से ही पहले तबाह होगे भाई, इस पे शक क्या है बोल, मेरे बिक रहे राज तेरी इज्जत के बदले तो 2 ज्यादा खोल, इज्जत आते हुए लाती है हेट और ट्रोल, बनना है बेस्ट ये सब झेलना पड़ेगा, कदम रख दिया गेम में अब खेलना पड़ेगा, सब छोड़ देंगे होप कहेंगे नहीं है कुछ स्कोप, तुझे अपना भी घर शायद जेल सा लगेगा, लेकिन चुप रहना बिल्कुल अगर प्रूफ करना गलत, जबान कम चलाना अगर दिखना है अलग, तू बेहतर है सबसे तुझसे ऊपर नहीं कोई, माइंडसेट बस इतना सा ला देता फर्क, माइंड को करना है ट्रेन इस कदर के आ ही ना पाए कभी थॉट कोई वैक, रुकूंगा नहीं कभी झुकूंगा नहीं, भले हिट ना हो आने वाला एक भी ट्रैक, प्लीज मेरी फिक्र करना छोड़ दो, प्लीज मेरी फिक्र करना छोड़ दे यार, तेरा जी लेगा जैसे भी हालातों पर दिखेगा नहीं कभी तुम्हें शोर में, प्लीज मेरी फिक्र करना छोड़ दो ना, प्लीज मेरी फिक्र करना छोड़ दे जी यार, मेरे पूछते तू ठीक है ना, मैं भी हंस के कह देता रिपोर्ट ओके की।
I got wasted cause I didn't want to deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned until I feel alright. And I keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. I got wasted cause I didn't want to deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned until I feel alright. And I keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. I got wasted. Repeat the cycle every day, I gotta start with a drink. My life been getting sorta crazy and I don't wanna think. I look myself right in the mirror and I don't even blink. Then I get angry, take the rest and pour it right in the sink. I know where this road goes. Alcohol ain't my friend, but I keep drinking cause these demons roaming follow me around everywhere I go. It clouds my mind and soul, it turns my heart cold. But I keep drinking cause it makes me feel like I'm not alone. I'm having problems, my problem let me reach out. Looking at this bottle, having.
So here in the test demo user section, you will find an option for a security credential, and here you will find a link through which you can access your AWS console of that particular test user. Okay, and here you will find an option for enable console access. So first of all, you need to enable that console access so that you can just use this URL to access that particular console. So go over here, click on enable console and click on enable over here, and once you enable the console, then of course you will need a username and password. Okay, so here what you can do, you can just rely on auto-generated password. So this is the actual practice, because you will be allowing some new user, or you will be creating some new user for your AWS account. So in that case, you will keep an auto-generated password and you will check that option that user must create a new password after the next sign in. So suppose if you are onboarding a new user, then what you will do, you will just create an auto-generated password and you will give him an option to change the password at their first login. Okay, but since I'm just doing this demo, so I'm not gonna choose this option. I'm just gonna stick with auto-generated password, but just keep in mind, if you want to allow that option, then he will be able to set his or her own custom password. Okay, I'm just gonna deselect that one, click on apply. And here, this is the password. So I'm just gonna copy this password and I'll just go onto my notepad. I'm not showing that notepad to you. It is open onto my another screen. So here I'm just gonna copy the console link also, because that will be needed to access that particular console of our test demo user. Okay, and copy that username as well, so that I can just copy and paste the things. So that will be test user demo. I'm just copying on my notepad. Okay, just close this one. Okay, and here since I have already logged in into my browser, so I need to open a one incognito mode so that I can go there and log in. So I'm just going to open into incognito mode over here, and in this incognito mode, I'm just going to copy that URL which I copied for my test user. So this is the login console of that particular test user. And here I need to enter the username. So I'm just going to copy the username and the password. So which is, I have already copied onto my notepad. I'm just going to paste it over here and click on sign in. And here you can see I'm able to access the AWS console of my test user account. Okay, so just these are just some initial helping notes. But anyway, the thought is, like, you should be able to create a user which is an IAM user, and this IAM user is just with the name test user demo. Okay, and which you can find the details over here, which you can see. This is the user IAM user which we have just created. But as I said you earlier, that this particular user will not have permission to perform all of the action which a root user can do. Okay, but when we were creating this user, so we have created an S3 permission for it. So let's check whether this user is able to access that S3 bucket or not. So in the search box, type S3 over here, go to S3. And here you can see we are able to access the S3, and these are some S3 bucket which I have created from my root account. So I'm able to access all of these. Okay. And even I can access the content of those S3 bucket here as well. So here you can see the content of my S3 bucket. All right. So this is the way you can create a user, and even you can assign the permission what a user can do from that permissions. All right. So now we have seen like how to create a user, how to assign a permission. So let's take a look by removing that particular permission. So what I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna move this browser somewhere onto different screen. And here I'm again onto my root user account, which you can see this is the rahul.wow, which is my root user account. And here this is the test user demo where I have just shown to you. So go to permissions over here and select this S3 permission and just click on remove and remove the policy. Okay, so now you can see I have removed that particular permission. Okay. And now again go back to our AWS console, and this is again now test user, which you can see. And now what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to just simply do the refresh. And here you can see insufficient permission to list the object. So as soon as I remove that permission, then user is not able to access those S3 buckets anymore. So that's the power of your IAM user and IAM policy. So it dictates like what kind of a policy you can create and what kind of a policy permission you can assign to that particular IAM user. Okay, so now you have seen how you can add your default permission which is already created by AWS. But what if you want to create your own roles and policy and assign to this particular user? So how you can do that? So again, remember, I'm just gonna use the same user, but this time I'm just gonna create my own custom policy for that particular user. Okay, so here again into the IAM section, go to the roles over here. And here, first of all, we need to create a role, and that role, inside that role, we need to create a policy. But just keep in mind, we are just gonna first create a role. So here, just click on create role, and here I'm just gonna put AWS service. Okay, and the use case, I'm just gonna put S3 over here, and click on next over here. And here there are permission policies, so I'm just not gonna use any of these. Click on next. Role name, I'm just gonna put allow S3 access. Okay. Description, if you wanna add something, then just please do go ahead and add something. And here you can see this is the default trust policy, which we are gonna see later again also. But just keep in mind that this is the role which I'm just going to create first of all. So here, go ahead and click on create role. Okay, so now we have only created a role, and this role doesn't have any policies yet. So if you go and search over here, then allow S3, then click on this S3 over here, then you can see the permission page, this permission section is completely empty. So this is just a role, and this role is empty. So whenever we work with the custom policies, then you just need to create a role first, and inside that role you need to assign the policy. Okay, so we have just created a role, but that role is completely empty. Now we need to create a policy over here. So what you can do, either you can go to this, here you can see here is the role, this is the custom role, and here in the permissions section you can create a add permission or attach policy. So from here also you can create a policy, or else if you are not interested from here, then also what you can do, again in the left section of IAM section, so again go to IAM over here, click on over here, and here you will find a policy. So you can go ahead and click on this policies, click on create policies, and here what you can do, I personally recommend to use a JSON document. So here you can see this is the JSON document, and these are the format which you need to follow. So here on my notepad I have already created one policy, so I'm just going to copy and paste it over here. But anyway, I'm just gonna type it over here, allow S3 access. So this is the SID. Effect is allow. I'm just trying to allow everything. So, and the action, I'm just gonna copy it from my notepad and paste it over here, which is this one. So I'm just trying to allow all the S3 accesses, and the resources, any specific S3? No, I just wanted to allow all the S3. So what I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna remove some extra double quotes over here, and I'm just gonna put star colon over here. Okay, or maybe I'll just put star. That should be okay. Okay, so yeah, that was a syntax error, so I just need to put a star. So now I'm allowing all the S3 access to whatever policy this is going to be assigned to a user. Okay, so I'm just creating a policy over here. I'm not assigning to anyone, so it is just a policy creation which I'm doing right now. Okay, click on next over here, and here you can see I need to enter the name of the policy. So I'm just gonna put custom S3 allow. Okay, so this is the name of the policy I'm just gonna put, and then I'm just gonna click on create policy. Okay, so now policy has been created. So till now what we have done, we have created first role, and now we have created a policy, but now we need to attach both of these, role and policy. Okay, so what you need to do, you again go back to roles from the left hand side over here and go to the role, which is allow S3 access. So this is the role, and here you can see this permission section is empty. So go over here and attach policy, because we have just created our policy. So click on attach, and here search for that policy, which is custom. Yeah, so it should be like custom, and here you can see this is the custom S3 allow policy. Just select that one, click on add permission, and here you can see that custom policy has been added. If you expand this one, and here you can see the policy content over here. All right, then after that, what you need to do, you just need to, I think you don't need to do anything. We have just attached that policy to that particular role. Here you can see the policy has been successful. Again, then go to the role. A billing can happen, and you can use your AWS services continuously. So it can control the billing, as well as it can control all the resources and the permission associated with those resources as well. So it's pretty much this root account has access to everything inside your AWS account. All right, now talking about the more specific about the IAM user. So now we have created a root account, and that root account is already visible over here, which is rahul.walk, which is my personal root account. So now what we are going to do, we are just going to create an IAM user. So here the name of the IAM user is going to be a test user, and this user have a very limited permission. So when we are going to create this particular test user, during that time, that user will not have permission to view any of those resources. So our root user is gonna first create a test user, and that user we are gonna call it IAM test user. So we just call every user here as IAM user. So the name of the user is test user. Secondly, we are just gonna create some policies. Those policies are governing the access to the resources. So in AWS, we have so many resources, and to control those resources, we need to define the IAM policies. So here we are just going to create an IAM policy, and with the help of that policy, we are just going to allow to access the S3 bucket. So S3 bucket is the like a storage where we put our files, our configuration, or our like a media file. So anything which is like a big in size, which you can store it onto your S3 bucket. So we are just going to create a policy to allow that particular user to access the S3 bucket. So this is the very simple use case which we are gonna cover, and which gonna explain like how the IAM users are created and how the IAM policies like permissions are assigned to those particular users. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna head over to console, and here in the search box, you need to type IAM, click on this particular option IAM, and here click on users on the left hand side. And here I have already created one user, so just ignore it. In your case, if you are doing it for the first time, then this whole page will be empty. There will not be any pre-existing users. So here click on this create user. Here you need to enter the name of the user. In our case, we are just going to name it as a test user. Provide user access to AWS Management Console optional. We are just going to enable it later. I'm just going to explain it later to you. Okay, so here set permissions. So add user to a group. We are just going to select this option, Just click next. And here it is just asking us to review the details. So here we have just assigned the username. We have not assigned any group to that particular user. I'm just going to explain the group thing later into this chapter. So just keep in mind, we are just keeping our flow very simple. We are just creating a user, that's it. And then just click on create user. And here you can see we got the user, which is test user, which has just created. Click on this particular user. And here you can see the details. So first thing which you need to be careful over here is the ARN. So this is a resource ID, or the ARN, which we call it into AWS. So this is the resource ID which is always unique for any resource which you are going to create inside a AWS. So for this user, this is going to be the ARN. And if you create any EC2 instance or S3 bucket or any other resource in AWS, then it will always grant you an ARN. So this ARN belongs to this particular user. So that's a key information which you need to keep in mind. Now you might be wondering that we have created this test user, but I'm still logged in as a rahul.wag, which you can see over here. This is the account ID and this is the name, which is rahul.wag. So how can I log in with our test user account? So that is also possible. What you need to do, once you create this user, then you go to the security credential. Then you need to enable the console access. So that will allow you to grant the AWS console access. I mean this access. Once we have logged in, so this particular UI AWS console, which we call it, you will be able to have the AWS console for that particular user. So first we need to enable that console option for that particular user. So I'm just going to go to IAM. Again, click on users, click on test users, go to security credential, go to enable console, click on enable. And once you enable the AWS console, then you need to set the username, which we have already set up, but also you need to set up the password. So here it will ask for auto-generated password or custom. So it's up to you. For this is just I'm doing for testing purpose, so I'm just going to use the auto-generated password. Yeah, here is one more option. User must create a new password after the next sign in. So if you're creating this user, then if you enable this checkbox, then user need to set his password when he or she logs in for the first time. So this is just doing it for the testing purpose. So I'm just gonna uncheck. I'm just gonna apply. And here you can see, so here you will find the URL which you need to use for performing the login. And this is a very specific URL for that particular test user. This is the name of the user and this is the password. So just copy these details somewhere and secure it. And then we are just going to use these details to perform the login on using my test user. Alright, so what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to open a private or incognito mode window over here. And here I'm just going to enter the URL first of all. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. And this URL is, I can show you again. So this is the URL which I am using, which I have got once I have created the user and I have enabled the AWS console. So this is the URL which I'm just going to use. I'm going to hit enter once again. So it's gonna pre-fill the account ID over here. You don't need to do it anything. Here you need to enter the name. So I'm just gonna enter the name test user, and I'm just gonna copy the password from my notepad, which we have already copied once we created this user. So I'm just gonna put in that password and click on sign in. And as you can see, I'm just going to close this one. So here, this is the first time I'm doing the signing using the test user account. So that's why we are just getting these options. Click on next, done. I'm just going to ignore all these, accept all cookies. I'm just going to zoom in a bit so that you can see. So here you can see this is the fresh console, and this is the first time this test user is going to perform the login. And here you can see the option for a switch role also. So which means this is an IAM user and it is not a root user. And also I would like to show you a few things over here. Let's start with the S3. S3 is the bucket. Let's try to see if that user has a permission to do anything over here. So here, let's go and click on buckets. And here you can see you don't have a permission to list buckets. roles and then select. So which means that as soon as you create a test user or IAM user in AWS, so by default AWS doesn't provide any access to that particular user. So you need to create a permission policy so that that user can access any specific resource. So here I have just taken an example of an S3 bucket, and here you can see it cannot view any of the existing S3 bucket, although I have not created any bucket. But here you can see that error message that you don't have a permission to list the buckets. And instead, if I go to my root user account, so I'm just going to minimize this. I'm just going to close this one. I'm just going to go to AWS, and here you can see this is the root user account, rahul.wag. And if I go to S3 and if I go to buckets over here, then you will see that I'm not getting any error over here because I am a root user and I have all the permissions. So that's the key difference I just wanted to highlight to you over here. So the next thing which we will do, we are just going to create a policy for that particular user so that user can access the S3 resources. And this is a very common example which I am taking, and the same principle we can use, the same policy we can use and customize it to provide any access to any other resource. For example, EC2, ECR, the container repository, or what we can say, the secret manager. So everything you can cover or you can govern or provide an access using the IAM policies. Okay, let's take a look onto the slide for a moment. So here we have created a root account, we have created a test user also, but we have not created yet the IAM, which is the permission. So let's take a look onto this permission and what I have mentioned inside this permission policy document. So here, this is the version, which is like an ideal syntax from AWS, which you need to follow. Then statement block, and inside that statement block, you need to provide the SID. This SID is a unique. You can keep any name of your choice, and it has to be a little bit suitable onto that particular policy document, what it is doing. But here, this was just a demo purpose, so I have just written a statement 1. But instead of statement 1, you can put like allow S3 access, which is more suitable for this use case. Effect, which means allow, so it is going to allow access. Instead, effect can also have like a deny, so which means you are just gonna deny the permission or deny the access. But here we just wanted to test the allow, that's why I have kept it as allow. Action S3 with a wildcard star, which means I'm just gonna allow all the S3 access. So it can view the bucket, it can create the bucket, it can delete the bucket and perform any kind of operation which relates to S3 bucket. So user can perform any operation on that particular S3 resource. And finally, the resource, which is star. So anyone who is having this permission can perform this action. So that's the policy or the permission which we need to grant to that particular user. All right, so now the question comes like how to create this policy. So again, go back to our root user. So this is the root user console, and go to IAM, just type IAM over here, go to policies. Here, click on create policy. So here, these are the default policies which has been created by AWS, but I'm just not gonna use the AWS default policy, but instead I'm just gonna create a new policy. And here I'm just gonna click on JSON because I feel JSON is more powerful rather than the UI, because here you can see everything into the JSON format. And once you see the code, then you feel more control over the permission. So here action, what I'm just gonna do is like S3 star. And here I'm just gonna put star. And statement, as I told you, we can put something meaningful over here. So allow S3 access. And once you create this, and if there are no errors, then you can just click next. And here you can provide the policy detail. So just for the testing purpose, I'm just gonna use test user allow S3 access. So this is the policy name which I'm just gonna assign. And after that, here you can see it has already taken the S3. Because we are allowing the all S3 access. So here you can see full access. So whatever we have mentioned inside our JSON document is now getting interpreted. And here you can see the conversion, like it is saying full access to all resources. Then, and the request condition is none, because we are not specifying any specific condition on which condition we are allowing or denying. We are just allowing everything. And here I'm just gonna click on create policy. And here you can see this is the policy which we have created. In case if you didn't see this policy, then just use this search box over here. And here you can verify this policy which has been created. Now, next thing what we need to do, we need to assign this policy to that particular user. And this policy assignment can only be done with the root user. Okay, for that what we need to do, again go to AWS, go to IAM over here, click on IAM, and go to users, click on test user because we need to assign that policy to the test user, and go to add permissions over here. So here you will find an option to like create inline policy or add permission. So here see the list of policy for this particular test user, and here is the green message which means the policy has been added. So this particular test user, we have allowed the access to the S3 bucket, and this policy has been attached to the test user, which means that particular test user should be able to access the S3 buckets. So I'm just going to open the other incognito mode where I have logged in as a test user. So I'm just going to head over to my browser and I'm just going to open the test user console. Just give me a second. And here you can see, I'm just going to zoom in a bit over here so that you can see. So this was the page when I have opened before I have assigned the permission to the test user, and this was the error message which we were getting. So now I need to refresh this page and this error message should be gone. So I'm just gonna click and refresh this page. And here you can see the error message has gone, and now the user will be able to view the buckets, although there are no buckets which I have created, but at least from the permission side, you can see that error message is no longer visible over here. So this is how you're just gonna create a user and assign a permission to that particular user. Although I have taken an example for a S3, but the same concept can be taken to apply or create a permission policy for any AWS resources. Alright, so let's take a look back onto our slide, and now you can relate how the IAM users are created, how the permissions are associated with those users. The next concept which I'm just gonna talk about is the groups. So now you can also create a group, and inside that group you can create a multiple users, and that is also quite a useful feature. So here again I'm using the root account, and that root account is going to create a group which is a demo group. So I'm just taking a very like hypothetical example over here, but in a real-time scenario, like you might have a multiple users into your organization, and you can divide those users in terms of groups. So one group can have like a developer group, one group can have a tester group, and one group can have like a product specialist or account manager. So these are few examples where you can create a group and you can assign users inside that particular group. Previously we have just created a test user without any group, but here I'm just gonna do one thing. I'm just gonna create a demo group, and inside that demo group I'm just gonna create a user which is a test user, and then we are just gonna assign a policy. Previously we have assigned a policy to test user, but this time we are just going to assign a policy to the group, so that any user which is present inside that group has a permission which we have created. So instead of creating those permissions specifically to users, we can just create on a group level, and by default the users which are present, so here the test user is present inside the demo group, so this particular test user is going to inherit those permissions from the demo group. So here again we are just going to create this policy, and then we are just going to test whether that particular user is able to access those policy S3 bucket or not. So this is the example for a group which we are going to take it. Let's head over to our IAM console, and the first thing which I'm just going to do, I'm just going to delete this permission which I have created for this particular test user. So this is a test user and this is the permission, so I'm just going to remove it, remove policy. That's done. I'm just gonna go on the left hand side, and here I'm just gonna click on user groups. Here I'm just gonna click on create group. Here I'm just gonna type the name, so let's say demo group, and then Oh, wait a second. Here we need to create a user, create a group. Oh, here it is. So here, this is the option, create group. So I'm just going to click on create group. And here you can see the group is empty because there are no users inside that particular group and the permissions are not defined. So we have not created any permissions. We have just created a group. So here click on this demo group and here click on add users. And here we already have a test user. So I'm just going to select the test user and then just click on add user. And so let's click on this users group link once again. And here you can see the demo group now has a one user, but still the permissions we have not defined yet. So we need to define the permission on a group level. So again, click on this particular group and here click on permissions and click on add permission and here click on attach policies because we have already created the S3 policy. But before we attach a policy to the group, let's go to incognito mode window where we have the test user. Let me open that one. Just give me a second. Here, since we have removed that policy from test user and we have not yet assigned that policy to the group, so which means this user doesn't have the S3 view permission. So let's refresh it.
Having nothing but doubt. Don't wanna drink, but it keeps coming around and around and around. I got wasted cause I didn't wanna deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned until I feel alright. I keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. I got wasted cause I didn't wanna deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned until I feel alright. I keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. I got wasted. I know I need to quit. I gotta do better. Example to these kids, cause they watching when I'm there. But I'm scared, cause I've been chasing the man that I am when I start to drink. He's cocky, confident, and he don't give a damn what you think. This world is beating me down and it's pushed me right to the brink. I take a shot every time because man, it helps me escape. I'm taking care of these people, but no one takes care of me. I wanna talk to somebody, but I feel no one relates. I need better now. I think I've lost my way. I'm having battles with faith. It's painted right on my face. I hope better times are coming. No chase, but I'm still running. I gotta take control, and I won't stop for nothing. Dear God, this is my test. Promise that I do my best. Just help me with this pain I feel and pressure that is on my chest. I got wasted cause I didn't wanna deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned until I feel alright. I keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. I got wasted cause I didn't wanna deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned until I feel alright. I keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. I got wasted. Yeah, she says she wants a real man. One who opens up the door, holds her hand and still smiles when he feels bad. In control of his emotions, wears his heart on his sleeve but don't get mad. One who gives her all his time, puts his dreams to the side and gets a real bag. Yeah, she says she wants a real man, but what she wants is not for real, man. Realest story ever told. Can't have a man who's making money, always home. Hard like a truck, that's why he's always on the road, providing everything you need to live the life you say you want. Can't have a man who wears his heart on a sleeve that won't rip once a while at the seams, especially if you never take the time to look into his eyes and hear him when he silently screams. Yeah, she says she wants a real man. One who opens up the door, holds her hand and still One who gives her all his time, puts his dreams to the side and gets a real bag. Yeah, she says she wants a real man, but what she wants is not for real. That Disney movie that she wanted was a dream and not reality, or something that she got. She put that man up on a pedestal, discards him when she found out he was human and he dropped. He's not perfect, but oh, he tries to live up to her beautiful lies. But as time goes by, you'll realize the man he once knew on the inside him died. Yeah, she says she wants a real man. One who opens up the door, holds her hand and still smiles when he feels bad. In control of his emotions, wears his heart on his sleeve, but don't get mad. One who gives her all his time, puts his dreams to the side and gets a real bag. Yeah, she says she wants a real man, but what she wants is not for real, man. Love is patient, love is kind, can be evil and also blind. God made man, then said in life he'll find good things when he finds his wife. So as a real man, broken and confused, struggling not knowing what to do, he dove to the bottom of the bottle, drowned in his sorrows, and prayed one day she would rescue. By stop pointing out all his mistakes, be the place he felt safe to express the emotions the world said he can't. He's the rock that she needs, but she hammers away at the love that he has, like she wants it to break. Despite all of the pain, twisted and changed, trying to become the whole picture she paints, till she woke up one day, said she's walking away, looked him dead in the face and then screamed. Yeah, she says she wants a real man, one who opens up the door, holds her hand and still smiles when he feels bad. In control of his emotions, wears his heart on his sleeve, but don't get mad. One who gives her all his time, puts his dreams to the side and gets a real bag. Yeah, she says she wants a real man, but what she wants is not for real, man.
And here you can see the error is coming over here again. So what we need to do now, again go here in the demo group, and the demo group has the user test user. So again go here, attach policy, click on this test user allow S3 bucket. Although I'm just reusing this policy, so it doesn't matter like what name you keep it on a policy, you can reuse those policies. So here I'm just gonna select this one and click on add permission. Click on add permission, and here you can see now this particular demo group has a permission to access the S3. So which means any user present inside this particular group, which is a demo group, should have a permission to access the S3 bucket, and which we can verify it once again. So again, I'm just going to open another window. Just give me a second, and here it is. So I'm just going to refresh this one because the test user now inheriting the policy from a group which is a demo group. So I'm just going to refresh this one. And here you can see that error message is gone, and now the test user is able to access the S3 bucket and perform any action which needs to be done on S3. So this is how you can control the access on a group level also. So you need to create a group. Inside the group, create a attach a user, and then after attaching a user, then you can also attach the policies which will be applicable on all the users inside that particular group. So let's go back to the slide and see once again over here. So here you can see, so this was a root user which created a demo group. Inside the demo group, we have created a test user, and then for that particular group, we have created this particular policy. And once we have assigned that policy, then this particular test user is able to access the S3 bucket. So that's the like a very basic concept of IAM user, permission, and user group. Moving further, and in this chapter, we are going to talk about the AWS organization. In the previous chapter, we have covered about the AWS IAM roles and the user and how you can sign up and create your own account. Now, when we talk about the AWS organization, then there are a couple of points you need to keep in mind. So here you will see you still need to sign up for an AWS account. I'm just gonna open the highlighter. So here, this is the root account. So as soon as you create your AWS account or you sign up for an AWS account, then you just get a root account. So let's say, for example, you sign up for an AWS account and you get you have created an account which we are calling it as a dev account. So that's a single account which you have got. But considering our development environment, we do not stick with our one environment. We need to have a multiple environment for a developer or for a company. So here, you can see there are dev account and there is a test account. So in AWS, there is a concept of called organization, and with the help of organization, you will be able to create multiple accounts within AWS. So first of all, what we will do, we will just go and sign up and we will get an account. So let's assume that when you signed up for the first time, then you got this dev account created. And after creation of the dev account, using the root user, you can create another account, and that account we are calling it as a test account. So here you will get a different account number. So for differentiation, I have just prefixed with a 1, and here I am prefixing with a 2. But these are just a randomly generated number from AWS. So AWS organization will help you to create a different operational unit or a business unit, and in the business unit you can create multiple accounts like a dev, QA, staging and production account, so that your resources are isolated. So suppose if a developer is working inside a dev account and he is doing some development work, so test account is not affected. So anyone who is performing some kind of a testing, then those accounts are isolated from the development changes. And similarly, you can have one more account for production where you are running actual production applications, where you are serving the actual client. So that's where AWS organization comes very handy. Okay, let's talk about how to use the AWS organization from AWS console. So here, as soon as you log in to your AWS account, so here you can see this is my root account, the account from which I have signed up for this AWS. So here you can see these are the account details, but from where you should access the AWS organization. So just go to the search box and type AWS organization over here. And here you will find the link for AWS organization. So click on it. And this will take you to the organization page. And here you will see the multiple accounts which is present inside your AWS account. Since I have been using this AWS account setup for a really long time, that's why you will see quite a lot of different business units which I have created. But if you are doing it for the first time, then there are key points which you need to keep in mind. So you will also see a root in your account also, because root is something which is always present. Secondly, you will get a management account. So this management account is the account from which you have done the first time sign up, and that will be responsible for your AWS billing. So this root and this management account will always be there. And rest of the thing like dev OU or this Terraform management account which I have created. So this is just I have created for myself. All right. So now, as you can see, this account already exists over here, which I have highlighted over here. That is Rahul Wagh, and this is the account ID. And this is the email ID which I have used for sign up. Now, let's talk about how I can create a different account. So here I have just created a dev OU over here. So what we need to do over here is first you need to create a different OU, like an operational unit or a business unit, you can call it. So just select the root over here, go to action, and here create a new organization unit. So click on it. And here you can type like a test OU. I can make it capital and then create an organizational unit. So this is just an organizational unit. This is just a class, like a differentiation which you are creating between different business unit. We have not created the account yet. Now, next thing what we need to do, we need to create an account. For that, we need to select the test OU because it is a test organizational unit, and I want to create account inside the test organization unit. So first select the test OU, and after selecting the test OU, you will find the option like add